And Netanyahu finding himself today in a very unusual position, behind in the polls, looking up, and now he is responding to the reports that Gantz, his main rival, believes, according to leaked tapes, that Netanyahu's spies with the Mossad may be behind this whole phone hacking saga. Netanyahu says Gantz is sinking to a new low.
But tonight, unfortunately, they sank to a new low. So I heard on the news, they're trying to drag the Mossad, that splendid body which protects Israel, they're trying to drag it into a political dispute. This is something that should not be done, because Mossad personnel have no way to defend themselves. So I'm not prepared to ignore this.
With me in studio is Neri Zilber, political analyst and journalist with bylines around the world. Also in studio, Mike Wagenheim, our diplomatic correspondent. Thank you both for being here. Mike, I want to start with you, because a lot of this with Benny Gantz comes down to the fact things are being leaked. There's tapes, there's transcripts. Every day there's another drip, drip, drip of something Gantz does not want out there. He has a mole or a spy, or he perhaps thinks there's a bug in his office. He can't really explain away what's going on.
This problem is a multitude of problems for Benny Gantz. Number one, obviously there's a problem within his own party. These are all not coming from the outside. There's no way that all of these different venues are being bugged ahead of time. It's doubtful the Mossad is involved in this, although they've been involved in covert activities. I don't think they're delving into internal Israeli elections. So this is a problem for Gantz, number one, in terms of party loyalty. But it's number two, in terms of an image problem. Benny Gantz was supposed to be a different type of politician who meant what he said and said what he meant. When you have these recordings that are coming out that are totally the opposite of what he's saying publicly, it doesn't so much become the leaks themselves, it becomes the image of somebody who's not what he says he is. That's where the real damage is coming from. Not from the comments specifically, but the comments are so far against what he's stating in public that the public is getting an image of somebody who's just another politician, somebody that they didn't want to see.
Neri, what do you make of this new article, the series of articles exposing the fake social media system involving hundreds of fake accounts? What are your big questions here about how this is operating? All these suspicious and fake pro-Netanyahu accounts tweeting hundreds and thousands of times a day. What do you want to know?
Well, I think the real question is there a formal, an official connection between this report and the Likud campaign or Netanyahu's camp, perhaps even his own family? We all know Yari Netanyahu, Netanyahu's son, is an advisor to the campaign, very active on social media personally. So the real question is, are there official ties between this report, these fake bots, social media accounts, and Netanyahu? But number two, I think anybody who's covered this campaign, who's active on social media, isn't all that surprised that there is at least a coordinated campaign underway, a pro-Netanyahu campaign online to drum up support, to smear rivals. They're very active, and effectively so, on social media.
To give an example, I mean, when we talk about these bots, according to a New York Times piece, it tracked one suspected bot that tweeted 16 times, just 16 times, in the first 3 months of 2018. The first 3 months of this year, that same account, from 16 to nearly 3,000 tweets, all of them pro-Netanyahu or anti-Netanyahu rivals. But we've seen this in democracies and election campaigns around the world now.
Right. I hate to belabor the point because there are a multitude of examples, but there is a similarity, let's say, between Netanyahu's alleged social media campaign and what the Trump campaign did in 2016 in the States. There's wide similarities on a number of fronts, but this is one of them. They're very active, and some would even say nefarious, with regard to the social media activity to drum up support and to take down rivals.
Mike, I want to ask about the poll, and we have the polls, and we can put them up again, about the path forward to a coalition. Even if you're conservative, like we are in this poll, we're putting Zehut aside for now, just based on Feigelin's public comments. I'm not committed to supporting Netanyahu. It's unclear, what he's going to do. But it still seems that there's no path forward for Gantz. There's a clear path forward for Netanyahu. Even if you take away Zehut, he still has 61, 62 seats. What path forward is there for Gantz? And with a week left, is there anything he can do to improve his chances of getting a majority?
The numbers aren't in his favor, obviously. There are a few things that all have to happen for Benny Gantz right now. Number one, he has to surpass expectations on Election Day in order to get a chance to form the government. If there's only a 1 or 2 seat difference between blue and white and Likud, I'm not sure President Reuven Rivlin will even give Gantz the opportunity to go and try to form a government. It's up to Rivlin in the end, based on the recommendations of the party leaders.
If it is 5 or 6 seats, and Rivlin says your party's so big, the gap is so significant, I'm going to give you the first crack at it.
That's the first step. Number 2, he's got to get Zehut, and Zehut has to do well on Election Day. Number 3, I think Gesher, the party of Orly Levy, the former Yisrael Beitenu member of parliament, who is now running her own party, some polls say she's going to get over the threshold needed to get into the next parliament. Some polls say she won't. But that will be a critical 4 seats that maybe Gantz can turn to if Orly Levy's Gesher party can get over the threshold. After that, you've got to try to turn 1 or 2 of Netanyahu's coalition partners against him, whether that be the Kulanu party, the center-right party, who is the most centrist party in the coalition right now. And there are questions as to whether they can get over the threshold. But if they do, try to turn Kulanu and maybe one other party, and maybe try to get a deal with the Arab parties. They're not going to join the coalition. It's simply not going to happen. It's wishful thinking for Gantz and his supporters. But maybe form some sort of agreement with them where they can support Gantz from outside the coalition, and he can rely on their support in certain circumstances. That is a lot of things that needs to go Gantz's way. If they all happen, maybe he has a shot. But it is a long laundry list of things that need to go right for Benny Gantz.
The analogy to sports would be it's a team that's on the outside of the playoffs looking in that doesn't control their own destiny. A lot has to happen in order for it to possibly work out.